Alright, today I thought I would just do a little vlog driving to a coffee shop in Brandon. Just love, I've actually done this on my YouTube page before. But the owner came to my show on Friday night at Spitfire. So I feel like he's actually could be a friend that I had from Florida. So I thought I would go out and just have a coffee there. I don't know if people saw the little mini vlog I did last night at Side Splitters, but it was, you know, comedy is easy. Like the writing jokes, performing, that's very easy. I mean, you got to put in the work and trial and error. You fail, you bomb. You become desensitized to that kind of stuff over time. What's hard for me at this point in the game, it's the mental, where like, you know, I'm not like 20 years old and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like sometimes I have these thoughts. Like that's the hardest thing. It's me getting out of my own way. If I was dumber, I could just float through life. But then I think, you know, everybody's got their own personal Vietnam. All my comedian friends who are my age, like who are all 40 plus, and we haven't like had, you know, gigantic success. Like we're all dealing with the same things. It's I'm not alone. So that's reassuring somewhat, because I can always call my friends and we can vent to each other. But sometimes you just get sick of it all. Like I don't want to talk about comedy to people. I hate when strangers try to talk comedy to me. Like they try to like understand family. I don't even like talking comedy with comedians. Like when I go to these mics, I try to sit away from comedians because I don't want to talk, and I don't want to reveal things about myself either, because then people start asking me dumb questions, and I'm not running away from my past, but I just don't want to revisit the past. I'm trying to move forward, which I repeat like a broken record. So let's keep this positive. So when I was in LA, I used to go to this coffee shop every day called Dialogue, and I became really good friends. We're good friends with the owner, Todd. I'm not in LA anymore, obviously. So when I got out here, I went to this other coffee shop and I became friends with the owner there, and it was nice for him to come to this coffee shop. And you know what was nice about it? It's sometimes I feel alone in Florida. It's like you leave all your friends behind and you're just like, I'm hanging out with you know, senior citizens all day. You're like, you live in this weird reality. Like I'm living in a sitcom. Like I've had this thought to write a sitcom based upon everything, but I don't have the mental fortitude right now to do that. But this is like a surreal existence, and I know like it's not going to last forever. I mean, geez, everything might change in the next 5 to 10 years dramatically, and that'll be devastating. So I'm trying to really enjoy this for what it is, but at the same time, I'm still a loner. Like I like to be by myself a lot of the times. I like to just sit with my coffee or read my books. So I'm going to Chicago in a few weeks. My friend booked me. I'm gonna do like 30 minutes on a show. I'm excited to go to Chicago. I haven't done comedy there in a minute, like years. I think I did like an Indian show out there like years ago. Probably bombed, honestly. But so I'm excited to do this show, just to leave, and I think the road is positive in that regard, because you can just, it's almost like you're like running from the law or something. Like you can just leave everything behind and do comedy. You kind of forget about the business for a minute. Like for me anyways, I'm not thinking about other shit when I'm on the road. You kind of just enjoy where you are and make a field trip of it. Now doing the road every day, I think is a battle. I think I heard Dave Attell say this. He's like, you know, I've done the road so much. He's like, there are probably years of my life where I'm just in airports because I spend that much time. Like I'm not even performing. I've been waiting in airports. That's like a third of my life. I don't want that. I don't want that. But how do you do comedy without traveling? it's like this double-edged sword. The comedians have got to, take control of their own career on all fronts. In fact, there's a guy named, I'll drop names, Kayvon, and this guy, the store stopped booking him in LA, and Kayvon was like, well, the guy's such a hustler, he just built his name up outside of the Comedy Store, built up his social media, did whatever he had to do to brand himself, and I think he's doing pretty well. And this comes with rejection, right? Like one door closes, another one opens. So when a club stops booking me, like I'm pretty ferocious in creating other content. I think it's almost a bad thing sometimes if you get everything you want because you get lazy and start to rest on your laurels. So I was doing the mic last night and there was this lady on stage and she was doing her jokes, it was whatever. And the guy who was running the room, when you hit 5 minutes, he like flashes a little flashlight at you, right? So he does this at 5 minutes and she just keeps on going. So then he like waves it at her like 30 seconds in, 45 seconds in. She just keeps on going, right? And then he like presses a button where the flashlight turns into a strobe light. So it looks like we're in like a dance hall or something. And she just keeps doing her act, right? Finally, like 2 minutes pass and she's like, all right, I fucking see the light. And he starts yelling back. He's like, well, the light means to get off 5 minutes ago. They're screaming at each other. She's like, okay. And she just puts the microphone back in and like sits down. And I'm thinking, where does this entitlement come from regarding new comedians? Like I've seen this, like, if I was doing that when I was starting out, like the owners of the room would have like told me never to come back. But I see comedians out here just like, like they think they deserve everything, under the sun. Like respect the room. It's a big thing of mine. And I hope like if I'm ever in a position to help comedians, I help the right ones. So I was driving back yesterday, I passed by the Hard Rock Cafe Tampa. Larry the Cable Guy is playing there November 11th. And I couldn't help but think about Bobby Kahn because for a while that was my end trajectory. I was like, all right, Larry the Cable Guy, just do what he's doing. And it was working pretty well. But here's the thing, and I'm sure Dan Whitley or Larry the Cable Guy, whatever he calls himself, has thought about this. When you're a character, that's your thing, right? People just want to see you do that character. Anything you do in comedy, your books, your acting, and I can't do that. I'm a funny guy. I know that. Like I can do different things aside from a character, and I can still do Bobby Kahn. But I drove by there, and it was kind of like a poignant moment. I'm actually considering seeing Larry the Cable Guy live and seeing actually how he carries that audience for an hour. I'd love to see that. I was thinking about this last night, and I feel like no matter what level you're at, you're on your own journey. Like there should be no comparison with anybody. And I think like comics are known for being jealous and bitter. But in the grand scheme of things, it's just you, right? You have to write, produce, direct your own act, essentially. And that's how I should look at it in the business sense. Like, it's just me. Like, everybody else's career is different than my career. Like, all I have to worry about is just showing up, which I tell other artists, like, you have to show up. That's it. It's really that simple. That's really what I find most interesting about comedy. Like, it's a business of levity. You're supposed to be making people laugh, and it's joyous, yet it's such a ruthless, cold, dark profession. Like this duality of these two worlds colliding. Who would have thought? I don't think I've ever told this story, but when I got to LA in 2005, my good friend Adam Hunter was already here, and I was rolling with him to a bunch of clubs, and I really considered leaving and going back to New York because I found the comedy scene so depressing. Like something in me was like, this is just carnage everywhere. And I remember I went to Paquito Mas on Sunset Boulevard, and Pauly Shore was there, and his mom owned the Comedy Store. And I talked to him for like maybe a minute or two, and he was telling me, he was like, dude, start hanging out at the store. And he's like, and I was like, okay. And I had a manager too back then. But part of me was like, man, this is not going to end well. I don't know. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, maybe I should have gone back to New York. But honestly, like, I had a, decent manager. I was fresh. I feel like you have to take that shot, right? Like, you have to go to LA. Like, people who just, I don't want to be the funniest guy in Tampa. And if you are, maybe consider, branching out at some point, or maybe just build up your social media and see what happens there. But I feel like taking risk is part of success. I fundamentally believe that. Not just in comedy, just in life. You have to take a risk. You have to be willing to do things that other people are not willing to do to get things that are not easy to get, in my opinion. Okay, I'm here. Now I'm just rambling at this point, but I have been rambling this whole vlog. If there's one thing I can be grateful for, I think about like when I was 19 and I first walked into a comedy club. I would have never imagined, I was like a kind of conservative kid, that I would learn how to write jokes, how to have a persona. Like, these are the cruxes of stand-up comedy. And I can do that. So I'm grateful for that. I am. Every day I'm like, wow, I actually put in the work and I can do this on stage. Like, you can drop me almost anywhere and I can do well if they're listening. Let me say that. Let me repeat that. If you drop me into a comedy show, not some bar gig or whatever, but you have to be grateful for that, right? Like, that's the goal of being a comedian, is developing that side of yourself. And it takes a lot of work, so try to be grateful. I used to be able to walk to Dialogue in LA like 2 minutes from my house. I had to drive 30 minutes to get here. So kind of an adjustment, but hey, it's Florida, right? Well, I just finished my coffee. Man, that kid who runs that shop is a straight go-getter. Really like people like that. Just, they know what they want and they move like a shark. I really believe, that saying, you're the equivalent of your 5 closest friends. Like, man, put me around people like that. People who are just moving. I gotta go home and write, do something. Hanging out at the coffee shop was a lot of fun. I really do enjoy just sitting by myself and letting things be, as weird as that sounds. But I feel like you have to figure out how your brain works, like what makes you happy. And I really hope I can continue to find coffee shops or places where I can just be alone. Like, for some reason, that's really important to me. The best part about that coffee shop was it just cleared my operating system. Like, now I'm ready to go home and work. And I feel like comedians, we are our own worst enemy. Like, you can go through the entire day not doing anything. Like, I'm gonna smoke pot and jerk off, and my day is complete. Like, comics have got to be their own business. Like, you are a production company. You have to shoot stuff. You have to make stuff. You have to create content. That's the way I see it. So I think it's a very entrepreneurial business. Well, this vlog is coming to an end. I appreciate you spending the last 6 hours with me, however long this vlog is. But life goes on. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel. I appreciate you. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.